In the previous episode, I started my winter wildlife photography expedition by snowshoeing far into the mountains of Dovrefjell. I had several fantastic wildlife encounters.
That was absolutely spectacular.
With minimalistic photos being a common theme. On day 2, I hiked around for many hours and ended the day by spending some unforgettable time photographing a herd of musk oxen in a brutal blizzard. Day 3 had arrived, bringing with it even more extreme weather. Although I love to photograph in these sorts of conditions, locating a subject is a lot more difficult. Despite knowing the whereabouts of the herd I photographed previously, I decided not to return and rather explore a new area. The herd from yesterday only contained cows and calves, so now I wanted to put all my time and energy into finding a mature bull to photograph.
Just complete emptiness.
I walked, eyes constantly scanning, but not seeing much. After a few hours of whiteout, the low clouds lifted and I could finally make use of my binoculars. I covered vast areas of mountains, but after 15 kilometers of snowshoeing without seeing any wildlife, I decided it was probably best to get back to camp and relocate 10 kilometers north to an area where our previous years have seen several herds of grazing musk oxen. Night fell over the mountains as I struggled up steep slopes with my heavy pulk. By the time I'd set up camp, it was midnight and I realized that I'd been snowshoeing for 16 hours without taking a single photograph. But rest would have to wait. To be close to the potential musk oxen site, I was forced to set up my tent in a rather exposed position. The snow here was of very poor quality, with a layer of ice on top and sugary texture underneath, resulting in awful attachment for the tent plugs and minimal weight for the store mats. I did a decent job of packing the snow tight and then went to sleep. But decent is never good enough, and I soon received a brutal reminder of the seriousness of a winter storm. I'd just gone to sleep when all of a sudden a gust of wind got in under the tent and lifted it all up and carried us down the mountain. And I didn't know how long it would take for it to stop, but fortunately it stopped after only about 10 meters. And everything was just turned upside down, and it was really quite scary. But I quickly got dressed and got outside and started holding on to the tent. And as soon as the wind settled a slight bit, I ran over to get the tent plugs and get the tent secured. So now it's 1:30 at night. But so now I've secured the tent as well as I physically can. And hopefully it won't happen again. And just so it's been said, I'm okay and well. And so is also almost all the equipment. The tent got a small rift in on the inside, but I think that'll be a quick fix. And I lost 2 tent plugs. I'd say it could have gone a lot worse. That's a clear reminder to not mess around in the winter mountains. 5 hours later, I woke up and I packed down camp, since this was clearly not a tent site that I wanted to spend any more nights at. But from the vantage point that the campsite provided, I instantly spotted 3 musk oxen on the opposite hill, about 2 kilometers away. Before leaving, I scanned the hillside behind me and spotted 3 more musk oxen even closer. The decision was easy, and I was soon making my way up the hill in the direction of the closest trio. As I got closer, it was a great relief to realise that finally, on day 4, I'd found my first mature bulls of the expedition. Just as the snow started falling, I got into position and could start photographing the gentle giants of Dovrefjell.
The 3 bulls seemed to be heading in a very specific direction, and all of a sudden it got very apparent why. Because right over the ridge in front of me here, there is another herd of musk oxen. So grateful for being able to spend time in this amazing landscape in extreme conditions with these relics from the Ice Age.
One of the great advantages of spending a long time with a subject is that you get to witness the changing light and weather conditions. After a full day with the musk oxen, the daylight was beginning to dim. But then, the combination of clouds, hills and light created beautiful layers to play around with for my final images of the day.
It's about the time of sunset now, and we just had some clouds roll in and they caught the light. These guys posed really nicely on the ridge, so I think I got some really nice portraits to end off this day. So now I'm going to pack up and get down to the pulk and find a suitable campsite for tonight, and try to do so before it gets too dark. Wow, I'm so happy with how this day ended up. Good morning everyone. Today is my very last day in the field. I mentioned yesterday that I saw a couple of musk oxen on the other side of the valley from where my campsite was. Well, they are the ones that I'm going in pursuit of now. So I've packed down everything. My pulk is just down there. And now I'm heading up into the slopes. Whoop. Rather deep snow right here. There is a slight problem though, and that is that I only have a slight idea of where they are. And at the moment, visibility is very reduced, so I need some luck to be able to find them. But let's just cross our fingers and hope we're in luck today.
Unlike previously, this day was completely wind still, and the whiteout was caused by fog, not by snowfall. Walking alone through this dead silent land without seeing anything but white was quite an eerie experience. I started to doubt how it would even be possible to locate any wildlife in this indistinct landscape, but I continued onwards and upwards. After a while of blindly walking around and not being able to see what was up or down, I found some rocky ridges to follow that at least provided some contrast for my eyes to focus on. And here, a hint of optimism was sparked as I found tracks, droppings and beds created by rock ptarmigan.
I've been zigzagging up and down the mountains in search of the musk oxen for several hours now, and I haven't seen anything. Visibility is just so reduced. But I did just have a brief encounter with a rock ptarmigan. I heard it first, and I spent several minutes trying to spot where it was. And I only managed to get a quick snapshot before it flew away. But still, it was a great encounter that gave me hope that there is at least some life up here. Before I round up this expedition, there are a handful of people I want to thank. And first I want to thank Foto.no and Canon for providing me this wonderful new R5. The R5 is the ultimate camera for an expedition like this. There is no other camera that I know that's as reliable and robust as this camera, and it produces wonderful files. So Foto.no is a camera store and is the camera store that I purchase basically all my camera products from. They are a bunch of great people. I have actually worked there, so I know they're really kind people. It's great customer service and they have great expertise and wonderful products. So if you're looking to purchase some new camera gear or maybe rent some camera gear for an upcoming expedition, then Foto.no is the place to go. And you can also purchase second-hand. I don't know if you heard that, but that was a rock ptarmigan. So thank you so much to Foto.no and Canon, and now I think I need to get back to photographing. I decided to sit down just where I'd seen the ptarmigan, and I played a little sound from my phone, and I got a response from the ptarmigan, and it came back and it walked by just below me here, about 6-7 meters away. And in these bleak, dull conditions, it's so cool to have that contrast with a black stripe across the eyes. But even then, it was extremely difficult to both spot and focus on with a camera. But I think I managed to get some really cool photos of this beautiful bird, the rock ptarmigan. As I mentioned before, I was interrupted by the ptarmigan. There are several people I need to thank. And secondly, I want to thank the guys at F-Stop for being so kind to send me their 80-litre Duradiamond Shin, which is an amazing backpack. I've been using it now for a couple of weeks and I'm really happy with it. Its quality is amazing in the zippers and the fabric, and everything is just really well thought out. And the main advantage is that it's 80 litres, so it's really big. And for the longest time I've struggled with backpacks being too small and having to strap my clothes and other equipment on the outside, whereas with this one I can finally fit comfortably all my equipment as well as necessary accessories and warm clothes and anything like that.
And last but not least, I want to thank all of you guys for following along on this expedition. Despite my efforts, I did not manage to relocate the Musk Oxen on this final day. Yet I set off towards civilization with a smile on my face, knowing that all in all, I was truly privileged to be able to carry out this expedition. I'd experienced some fantastic encounters and created some unforgettable memories, many of which I got the chance to freeze with my camera. If you wish to see all my favourite images from the expedition, I've created a collection on my website, which I've linked to in the description below. With this view of my first human sighting in 5 days, I want to say once again thank you all very much for watching, and goodbye for now.